Hi, I'm Dante from the Immortal Flood. Since this is my first vid, I should probably tell you a bit about myself. Among the team, I'm the one who loves to find and abuse all the big combos there are. And as I find these combos, I'll share them with you. Now, bear with me, some of these combos you may think are broken or overpowered, though I suppose those two are synonymous with each other. Take your pick of the two. But I prefer to see them as the stuff that works, and I find it and abuse it until the format change forces me to do something else. That's basically how I've always dueled. Tonight I'll be talking to you about the Hieratic archetype. They're becoming next format, and I guarantee they're going to be big in the meta to rival the Inzectors, since they have similar ability to swarm and destroy the opponent's field. The Hieratic archetype monsters share the common effect that when tributed from either the hand or the field, they can summon a normal dragon-type monster from your hand or deck, albeit at the cost of all its attack and defense points. This might be viewed as a bad thing by some, but that monster's probably not going to be around very long, and given what you gain from the tribute, usually, it'll be well worth it. For example, the monster destruction engine of the archetype, Hieratic Dragon of Nephthit. By tributing a Hieratic monster from anywhere, your hand or your field, you can destroy a monster in your opponent's field. Not only does this clear up their pesky monsters, but it also gives you something else to work with. And the attack score of Nephthit, 2000 or 2200, I get him mixed up with Sue sometimes, I'm still getting used to the archetype. He'll be difficult to kill in battle. Speaking of Sue, that's the other half of the destruction engine of this archetype. Sue has the same effect as Nephthit, only he targets spells and traps. Very useful for getting rid of those popular traps that are used in the meta these days, like Dark Bribe, Dimensional Prison, Bottomless Trap Hole, and so on. And if you can summon, then you can use the level 6 monsters summoned by this to summon one of the two Xyz monsters for the archetype. The level 6 monsters can be used to bring out Hieratic Dragon King of Atum. He's a 2400 attack point beat stick that, at the cost of his attack for the turn and one of his Xyz materials, he can summon any dragon from your deck, albeit at the cost of its attack and defense points. This might be viewed as bad, but you can combo this with Inferno Reckless Summon to get more of that card if you run more than one of it. This can be particularly devastating with Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon, not only for his ability to summon more dragons, but if you overlay 2 copies of him, you can summon Gustav Max, the Super Dreadnought Railway Gun, for his 3000 attack points, and his ability to shave off a quarter of the opponent's life points at the cost of an Xyz material. Overlay 3, and you get that super-dimensional robot mech used in Zeissel. I'm not sure of its name, but that thing is basically a walking heavy storm with 5,000 attack points. Best of all, his effect can't be negated by spells and traps. He hits the field and your opponent's going to have a lot of trouble. And you can overlay Gaia Knight the Thunder Charger over Atum in order to make up for the loss of an attack with something even stronger, and has the piercing ability for those pesky defensive monsters. The other Hieratic Xyz monster, the Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis, at the cost of an Xyz material, you can tribute any number of monsters from your hand, field, and/or field, and destroy a number of cards on the field equal to the number of tributed cards. This can play merry hell on your opponent's back row and their monsters. And given that the swarming abilities of this archetype, you can very easily dominate the duel early to mid-game, and easily get yourself an OTK. Now, we need to talk about the weaknesses of the Hieratic archetype, which, if you're facing this archetype in battle, you can exploit in order to defeat it. First and foremost, all the Hieratic monsters, with the exception of the 2 Seal monsters, one normal and one a Gemini monster, they all have effects. If you play Skill Drain, you can kill this archetype. If you don't have Skill Drain, you can use Light Imprisoning Mirror since they all share the same attribute. In addition, you could also use, and if you manage to use Solemn Warning or Solemn Judgment on one of their big monsters, all their effort will go to waste. or you can use anything that really locks down special summoning as well can kill the deck, but one of its biggest banes is Mask of Restrict. This trap stays on the field, and as long as it's around, no one can tribute monsters for any reason. That hits the field, and the Hieratic deck is pretty much dead, unless you can get rid of Mask of Restrict. If you want to protect it, you can use Imperial Custom. There's also a myriad of other spell and trap protection, like Dark Bribe and Fake Trap, among others. Played correctly, Hieratics can be deadly, but they also have a large number of weaknesses that can be exploited. I'm Dante, and this has been my first vid. Hope you draw some wisdom from this, and good night, people.